Welcome to Native Bidaské, Native News Online's weekly spotlight on the people making news and leading change in Indian country. This episode is brought to you by Indian Land Capital Company.
Welcome to another episode of Native Bidaské. I'm Levi Rickert, editor of Native News Online. Fancy Dance, a film that is getting some good attention these days nationally. Lily Gladstone was part of the production, and of course she won the Golden Globe and she's up for the Oscar. We in Native Indian country are just so proud and excited and hopeful that she wins it. We think she will. But with us today is one of the co-writers of Fancy Dance, Miciana Alise, and she's Tlingit out of Alaska, now living in the Seattle area. Welcome, Miciana. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you.
Yeah. Hey, tell us about the origins of Fancy Dance.
Yeah. So Erica Tremblay, the other co-writer and the director of the film, she and I were actually in the Sundance Indigenous Labs back in 2019 together. She was there actually with her. She had just finished shooting her short film, Little Chief, which also stars Lily Gladstone. And she and I connected, and we really just like hung out for 3 or 4 days at the festival. And she had read my script that I was there with. It was a rom-com, and, you know, had a good time, parted ways. And then a year later, I got a Instagram message from her that says, "Hey, I'm kind of like a few pages deep on this script, and I'm not sure I want to write it alone. Would you be interested?" And this was right when the pandemic was starting. So it was like, yeah, I have no idea what the world is doing right now. I need something hopeful to focus on. So thank God. And she shared the first couple pages with me and the rest of her outline. And she just explained this concept to me of a love story between an aunt and a niece against all odds. And I was sold from her first pitch. I was like, I don't care if it's co-writing. I don't care if it's being a PA. I don't care if it's just being a reader. Like, I have to be involved in this project. And then when she told me that Lily was already, you know, in agreement to be a part of the film in any way she could as well, I was like, yeah, this is a powerful train, and I'm going to hop on it when I get this ticket handed to me, right? So it was such a beautiful collaborative experience from the beginning. And I'm so glad that Erica and I crossed paths, and that's thanks to Bird Running Water and that Sundance Indigenous program.
Yeah. And Miciana, I understand you were part of the Native American Journalists Association at one time. Tell us about that, and how was the transition to actually writing film scripts?
Yeah, so I've actually been writing my whole life. It's just something that's always come naturally to me. It's a place that I've always expressed myself, whether it was for like classwork or just on my own in my free time as a kid. Like, other people are out playing sports and stuff, and I would be writing poems. And so, I mean, to get the chance to do writing in any capacity, I leapt at that chance. And when I went to school at Haskell, I met Rhonda Lavaldo, and she was in charge of the media program there. And she kind of just, you know, from the time we started in her class, she was like, "Here's a camera, go get a story." I was doing Haskell News, and I had no idea what I was doing, but she believed in us that much, and she gave us the freedom to try and to fail and to learn. And I'm always so grateful for that program. And then while I was there, she was mentoring different internships and cohorts with the Native American Journalists Association. And when she shared that opportunity with us, again, I was like, all right, another chance to get my hands on a camera, another chance to write and to learn a little bit more about this business. So I think I did 2 internships with them, one in Minneapolis, and then I think the other we were in Fort Lauderdale or something. And I've got to connect with other Indigenous writers and professionals and students through that program that I'm still in touch with today. And they're actually like championing our fancy dance journey. So it's been cool to like bring them along. But to be able to write in a journalism style is such a great skill to translate into screenplay writing, because you get to focus on the facts of the story, which become the backbone of the fiction that you're creating, right? Because it all starts with an outline, and you have to know these people inside and out so you can explain your characters and why a Lily Gladstone should want to play a character like Jax. You're trying to sell that to people. So knowing the who's, the what's, the when's, where, and why's, that all comes in handy. And then to tell stories from a Native perspective, if you're out there doing Native journalism and talking to all these people from different walks of life, different reservations, different skill levels, artists and professionals, that's all going into your characters later on when you're writing your script as well.
Well, that's great. And I started Native News Online 13 years ago. We turned February 13th, 13 years old. And, it was really, I've always gone on the premise, it's time for us to tell our stories. And so I'm really excited that you're telling the stories. And would you agree that there seems to be a moment that's happening for Native people right now? Obviously, with Lily Gladstone, and we'll talk about her in a few minutes, but I'd like you to talk about that moment that you're experiencing. Are you seeing progress being made for Native writers and in film?
Yeah, I think it's such a moment, and it's so exciting to be a part of it and to see people. Sterling Harjo, for instance, he was my mentor at Sundance, and he was Erica's mentor at Sundance. And this was pre-Reservation Dogs. And so to see him get that success during the time that we were writing Fancy Dance, it absolutely, it was a North Star for us. And we were like, if Sterling can do this, we can do this. And then for Lily to be having her moment, getting the Golden Globe, going and hopefully getting the Oscar, it's giving hope to a lot of folks in a place where we haven't had hope for a long time. And to see more and more of us breaking through, I think what's so incredible to watch is that, and Lily made reference to this in one of her more recent interviews, is that we're not only getting to these places, we're holding the door open and saying, yes, now you've met me, let me introduce you to 10 of my other friends who also have amazing skill sets and have just been waiting for their chance. And so we really are, we're kind of infiltrating Hollywood right now. And it's not even in a tokenizing kind of way. We're telling authentic stories, and we're getting people hired. That feels really good too. On our film, I know that we were able to hire over 200 Indigenous people in front of and behind the camera, and give people opportunities that they wouldn't have had otherwise on a non-Indigenous production. And we benefited because we have those authentic handprints on our work. You can tell in watching Fancy Dance that it was made by people who know these characters, who know this world, and put their love into it. And I think that that's like the most important thing, is that yes, we're having this moment, but something that everyone can benefit from, not just Native folks, is that we're telling really enriching, beautiful stories that are going to have impacts far beyond our own community.
I love that. It's that it's not just a Native person standing in the corner saying "ugh" anymore. It's telling those authentic stories is just so rich, and so it really comes down to cultural exchange. Just to be able to exchange that our culture with the non-Native, I think it's just keep doing what you're doing. That is so exciting. Hey, tell us about Lily Gladstone. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in Indian country who's not rooting for her to win the Oscar. But tell us about her.
Lily Gladstone there are no words to describe her. She is such a beautiful person, and I know a lot of people comment on her eyes all the time, and that really is like the window to her soul, and she's just so willing to share and to listen, which makes her an incredible artist, but she's also an incredible human being. And I think that there's just nobody better that this moment could be happening for. And like you said, everybody's rooting for her, and that's really amazing to watch, because I every time something's posted about Lily, I go into like anti mode and I patrol the comments. And even all of these global audiences are like, everybody's in love with Lily, because she's so secure in who she is. And you can tell she was raised by a community with just love and intention, the way that she carries that and the way that she gives it back to the rest of us. Because the other really amazing attribute that Lily possesses is generosity. And she brings everyone with her. You'll see on all of her magazine covers, she's wearing indigenous made jewelry. She's intentional about her choices and who she invites to award shows. I mean, she's taking this opportunity to elevate so many people, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see her do it, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to benefit from some of those occasions.
Well, tell us about, because of her let's just call her a superstar, because I think we in Native Americans think of her as a superstar. Yeah. But what's happening with Fancy Dance? That really helped propel it to a different level, or?
Yeah. So Fancy Dance, we premiered at Sundance, and there was great reviews, and we were 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, had all these really great articles that came out. And then it was kind of like a weird time, because it was right before the big strikes that we all went through. And so it was a time where Erica and I couldn't talk about the film publicly. Lily and Isabel couldn't talk about the film publicly. None of our other actors could talk about the film. So it's like, how do you promote a film when nobody is allowed to talk about it? And as soon as we were through that rough period, we really hit the ground running. And when the strikes were over, Erica and I hit the pavement. Lily was able to talk about us in her interviews. And the really pivotal one was the IndieWire honors. And she got on that stage, and in a moment where she was being honored for her incredible work in Killers of the Flower Moon, she took that opportunity to say, yes, and I've also got this other amazing film called Fancy Dance that has had a really rough time, just given the timing of the industry and all these things outside of their control. So please give this film the consideration that it's due. She, like I was saying earlier, like this film, we all really have a place in our hearts for it, because the industry has never seen a love story between an Indigenous auntie and a niece. It just hasn't happened before. And so this was something that was important to all of us, beyond just, oh, it would be really nice for my career if I was able to sell this film. Like, this is something that we all believe in way deeper than that. So to have her take that moment and say, yes, and take a look at Fancy Dance, it really helped change the conversation. And then also Erica and I posted an op-ed, and that really got some feedback from folks who didn't even know that Fancy Dance was still for sale. So yeah, it was kind of this culmination of things that happened at once. But it's just, I always refer back to this line that Jack says in the film, which is, if you knew my mama, you know I ain't the quitting type. And that's me, Erica, and Lily, and our whole team. Like, we just weren't going to quit until somebody bought this thing. And we're so happy that we landed at Apple. It's just the perfect place. And especially since they had Killers of the Flower Moon, it just made so much sense.
Well, congratulations. And hey, let's talk about that anti-aspect within Native culture. And I know I think it's been said aunties are really sometimes almost like the surrogate mothers. Would you say that's true? What was the message you're really trying to get across?
Yeah, so I'm really glad you asked that, because that was actually kind of the impetus for the whole idea of fancy dance, is rooted in Erica's language. She's Seneca-Cayuga, and she was taking a language immersion class up in Six Nations. And she learned that the word for aunt was little mother. And she started thinking about her own relationship with her nieces and nephews and her sister, and how we're all engulfed in this larger epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women, and all these ideas kind of just wove themselves together. And that was one of the reasons why it spoke to me so much, is neither Erica or I have children of our own, but we're both really proud of being aunties, because that's such an important role in our communities. And it is like having all these second mothers running around looking after you and take care of the community. And it's something that we don't take lightly. And we're really honored to have that title. So it was a work of love to write this script.
Yes, and you can take that a step further even. I know among my own family, I have the Potawatomi cousins were like brothers and sisters in terms of growing up together. And I know in Potawatomi tradition, uncles sometimes would, if a child needed to be corrected, they would go to the uncle or even the auntie and say. So the mother and dad were not the heavy, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And so when you think about the history, the traditions, the culture that we have, and what you've been able to portray on film, that's just pretty powerful. And well, it's there again. It's not the Indian standing in the corner saying "ugh," right? It's
right. And you get to see us in a modern light. That was really important to us too. Is that like you could see these roles, you could tell the same kind of story, but have it be a period piece back in the 1800s. And that's kind of what we're used to seeing, right? Is that Native people only exist in the past. And Erica and I are like, no, we're aunties today. Like, it's not a thing. It's something that's carried through time with us. And so we wanted to tell a modern version of that.
Mm-hmm. And I understand Erica is going to get an award coming up. Was it February 29th? She's going to be at the Athena Film Festival. Can you talk about the award and what's happening that week up in New York City?
New York. So it's really exciting because she's getting the inaugural award.
All right.
Yeah, so she's the first one that'll be getting this award at the Athena Film Festival. And we talked about Lily's generosity earlier, and Erica, they're two peas in a pod because they're just unmatched. Erica's been so generous to me in how we've made this film, and the opportunities that she's given me to come to set, to shadow her. She's really mentored me as well as been a co-writer. And so I'm very proud of her and all of her accomplishments, and I'm excited to see that she's also being honored at the Athena Film Festival. And then she's also going to be a part of a panel. They're going to have a screening, so it'll be a whole exciting event.
Well, listen, after we're done, let me know. I actually have we have a reporter, Native News, who lives in New York City. So we will try to get her assigned to go cover the panel. So that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yes. And that's just it. We'd like to promote what's happening in Indian country here at Native News Online. And so I'm so happy that you came on, Miciana. Is there anything else you want, any new projects you want to talk about? Can you talk about any future project?
Well, I can't get into details, but I will say that Erica,
I know sometimes you guys are under wraps, right?
Yeah, it's really hard. You got to keep all these secrets. But what I can say is that Erica and I are hard at work on a second feature. And so
nice.
Keep your eyes peeled for that.
So where will you be watching the Oscars this year? I mean, you have
I haven't decided yet. I might make the trek down to LA and see if I can go to an official watch party, because it's just
That'd
going to
be
be
nice.
too much. I'm way too excited already.
I think I'm going to be in Las Vegas. That's the week of the economic summit called Res down there. And
Oh,
so
yeah. Well, that's a good place to watch it.
I'm sure the Native people will be gathered around, so it'll be fun to watch Native people. So yes. Yeah. Hey, tell the viewers how people can see Fancy Dance.
So since we got bought by Apple, it's all up to them, and they haven't released any release dates yet, but we're hoping it'll be soon.
Well, maybe you and Erica can come back on when that happens, and would maybe Lily even. Hey, that'd be wonderful. So yeah, that'd be great. But no, keep up the good work, and it's been a pleasure talking to you today. And anything else you want to leave with our viewers? So tell the young people something. Tell the young people who inspire, who want to be have aspirations to get into film. What message would you give the young people? And you have the last word on that.
All right. I think the biggest thing that I like to tell people is to stick with it. If you have this dream, it's a matter of endurance. It's not about who's good, who's bad. It's if you stay prepared, if you keep working at it, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. And it's just a matter of deciding that you believe in yourself. And as corny as that sounds, it's the absolute truth.
Yeah. Well, Chimigwich for that. Thank you for that very much. I appreciate it. We've been talking with Miciana Alise. She's a co-writer of Fancy Dance, and Native News Online will keep you posted as to when and where you can watch it, and when Apple releases more information. So, and to our viewers, Chimigwich, for tuning into another episode of Native Bidaské. And Fancy Dance is about aunties. So, hey, give your aunties a hug this week. Give them a hug and take care of your aunties, elders, your grandmas, your grandpa. Show some love in Indian country. Chimigwich will be back next week with another edition of Native Bidaské.
If you appreciate what we do here at Native News Online, we invite you to donate to support our continued work covering Indian country. You can scan this code with your smartphone or go to the link located below this video to donate today. We greatly appreciate your support. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And be sure to scan this code or go to the link below to subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you for joining us today, and please be sure to join us again next week for another episode of Native Bidaské. Chimigwich.